Hello, my name is Kayla Turbu. I am the author of Supers the Poet. I am the author of this. I am the person who runs this channel, The Busy Writer's Life. I am too busy to get my words straight. Today we are talking about how to create an interesting villain. Even villains, even antagonists or villains, they're not 100% evil. Even if they go Muwahaha at the moon or something, they're not completely evil. But they do typically have more evil motives, as we would call it, to kill people and torture people and cause chaos. I don't know, depending on your story, they can do whatever they want. And so that's why they need to be relatable, okay? They're not all evil. Just like nobody's all good, nobody's all evil, okay? You have to have both in order for one to exist. Motivation is key. You need to know the motivation. And doing this will make the character more relatable. When you're thinking of what to find the motivation, what do they want? You need to think that they are convinced they're the good guy, okay? They are the protagonist to their story, okay? And instead of judging them for what they did, you need to actually be on their side. Doing this, you need to put yourselves in their shoes based off of their backstory. And doing this will actually lessen your chances to have your character two-dimensional, which is a big no-no. You'll have a better idea if you are. I've heard some authors, this is not my words, say that you need to be their attorney. You need to try to prove their innocence. You need to, in your head, they're not completely evil. Even if you want them to seem like the bad guy, they are not. They need to be likable, okay? As opposite as that sounds or what you're getting across, readers still need to be able to relate to them. To do this, even if they're a complete jerk, try to surround them by bigger jerks. I've heard that tip, and that works. What I mean by they need to be likable, readers need to like reading them, okay? Not even your protagonist is 100% likable, but your reader should enjoy reading them. You can use this by making it more personal or having even your reader have empathy for them. They need to feel sorry for them. They need to have some sort of admirable traits. Villains also need to be well-perspective and accomplished. They didn't get to where they are today without doing something. Villains need to be well-respected and accomplished. They are not stupid like their minions are, okay? Typically, you see the big bad villain and then their villains are just the reason that they die. Okay, so they got to where they are for a reason, both personally and maybe they're the overlord or something. People follow them. A villain with followers makes them more powerful, and there's nothing more entertaining. There's nothing that makes a hero more heroic than when they have to go up against a powerful opponent that might even be more powerful than they are. Of course, as a villain, you should not have your reader be on their side, which I've actually caught myself reading books to where I've actually been on the villain's side. Your reader should not be on the villain's side, obviously. They're wanting the protagonist to win. That's who they're rooting for. And if you have some problems with that, just go ahead and check out my How to Create a Good Protagonist video, because, you need some good characters in your book. To do this, you can create some negative traits. Just like creating a protagonist, it's obvious that an evil character has some negative traits. And so some of the most typical traits include prideful, deceitful, even jealous and vengeful, especially the antagonist, vengeful. Also, something you probably want to remember, especially in defending them, is that your character probably did not become evil all at once. Nobody's born evil or good. Something happened to them to make them that way. And they typically slowly became that way. They didn't just go, oh, I'm bad now. My mom died, so I'm bad now. No, that didn't happen. Okay, sorry. That was a slow process. Maybe his mom died and was murdered, and he grieved for several months before he started seeking revenge, but it was several months, not the same day. That is very unrealistic when authors do that. And so typically where they are right now, because the reader is of course not rooting for them, they have dug themselves in a hole and so deep they can't go back, which is why they're now the big bad guy instead of just a typical annoying guy. A tip that I would say from my personal experience, my favorite villain that I've ever come across didn't do magical powers. I love to read fantasy, but even movies, this is a good tip, and this is from a movie. I like it when the villain is doing all these bad things in my favorite movie, God's Not Dead, the bad guy is this professor. And what he does is he's basically picking on this college kid and who says that he's not going to say God's dead. He's going to prove God exists. And he's saying, he's putting all these obstacles for this kid. And it really, you think realistically that it really shouldn't matter to the professor whether the kid's Christian or not, but it does for some reason. And because of that, the professor's trying to take him down. He even tries to get him kicked out of the schools where he can't get his lawyer's degree. And he threatens him, and he does all these rude things. He's even rude to his girlfriends where you obviously don't like him. And there's a point to where in the middle of the story, I'm like, dude, just stop. And I do that, in books too. You should have your reader just be kind of annoyed with him. Like, why are you this way? There is no reason for you to act this way. And then in the middle, I got smacked in the face with his backstory. All of a sudden, he had said the most passionate atheists were once passionate Christians and they took the mask off. That's what he said. And he described that his mom had died. Spoiler. And he's like, I had just begged God to spare her and he didn't. And thus I hated him. And then he became vengeful, which is a trait. But you see, all of a sudden I felt bad for the guy. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. And so that's why it's such a great example, because I all of a sudden had empathy for the guy. And as he seemed like he was all bad, but that he was 3D. He actually had a heart and was mourning for his mom and hated God for what he had done. This isn't a Christian thing. That is just from a movie. I am Christian, but this isn't some preaching thing, okay? So the point of that story is that created empathy, and I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me. I like getting smacked in the face. Not physically, do not smack me in the face. So I love being smacked in the face with reality. Plot twists, I love plot twists. I love writing them, and there's going to be another video coming up on it, but, foreshadowing. Remember one thing, the actual definition of a villain, okay? A villain is a character who has evil motives to the plot, whose evil motives changes the plot. Or it's someone who is personally responsible for trouble, harm, and even it says or change, but even the protagonist is responsible for change. Good guy is too, so just don't make them all bad. And don't make them all bad, make them actual people, and maybe if they're not people, they're still not all bad. Make them entertaining and relatable, and smack your readers in the face with their backstory, because I will like that. Alright, go ahead and check out the rest of my stuff. But do not laugh. Shush.
Yeah, but you smack me
Shush.
all the time.
I know. Shush. Okay. Anyway, I can't gather my words today. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm trying to make myself look like I have better posture. Okay. I'm just gonna go down my list. Okay. My poor dad has to edit this.